the first part, and so I'm going to proceed with the second part. For the second part, before I open up the floor, originally I have this, probably about 6 questions, but I'm going to skip some of the questions, and because those questions maybe is on the floor, but I'm going to ask you a few important questions. So the first one is a sort of astounding. So I like everyone to answer. You know, the second one maybe we'll decide on what to do. So this time I'm going to start this way. Right. Okay. So the question that I had from the floor, from the plan, is like a couple of I think 2 weeks ago, there was a news article talking about like Waterloo, University of Waterloo is checking the grade deficit. When I say grade deficit, when you go from like a high school going into university, there's a marked gap. Essentially drop about 15 is on average. But right now the report showed me there's in Toronto school board, there's school that is as low as 27 or 24%. So I want to talk about this important issue about grading, all right? Where like we have a grade deficit issue, so we have EQAO, or so we need to have a general exam, when you exit the school system, at least do the measurement. So like for example, I came from Hong Kong, we have matriculation. In Commonwealth, you have GCE, I don't know what the US has, but we have a general exam, right? But we don't have general exam in Ontario, so I want you guys to comment on it. So I'm gonna start with Mr. Silverman.
Thank you. So having a daughter that is at university, I went through this and I lived it. So I can tell you that what happens in her particular case is the particular program that she wanted to get into required an 82 average minimum to get in. And my daughter was very musical, got 100% in music, and got, let's say, 80 in math. Her average came out at 90. That's basically what her university looked at. They took all of her grade 12 grades, averaged them out, and that's the number they give. Do I think the universities need to change this based on the program? 100%. I think this is a ministry issue more than it is a local school board. But the Ministry of Education and Higher Education, those two, need to fix this problem. I looked at the list of schools that were affected, and in my particular ward, there was one that seemed to be exceeding the expectations, or the numbers were a little skewed. And I guess it also can possibly come down to the teacher. How is the teacher grading? In my opinion, mathematics, science, these things are true. The numbers are there. You either get it or you don't, and you answer the question. But when it comes to the English or humanities, that's where the fluctuation can happen, where you can get a teacher's opinion saying, yes, you get 90% on this English paper, where another teacher may say you get 70% on that paper. And that seems to be where we need to find a balance in the grading system.
Thank you, Mr. Silverman. I forgot to mention, it's my problem, it's not your problem. Because in light of the time, 1 minute answer. Yeah. So Sonia, do you agree?
You know what? I thought that was a very good answer, Todd. I'm just going to expand upon that. So, Alec, I believe the article that you shared was referring to a 27% drop in grades from university based on in high school. And there's many reasons attributing to this. You got to ask yourself, or ask the question, is it really because high schools are inflating their grades? Or is it actually because this is the first time these kids are living away from home? Is it because they're living with their cohort at their very same age, 24 hours, 7 days a week? Or is it due to the difference in parenting styles that boomers did versus Generation X, or the millennials parenting Generation Y? I think a more comprehensive study would need to be done to identify a plan going forward. And one of the things I'd like to mention or give accolades to University of Waterloo that they've done over the years is they've developed a math center, a writing center So for those students that need to improve, I know when I went to university they didn't have these centers, but you can definitely go there and improve and educate from that way. So these are the questions we need to be done. A comprehensive study will need to be done in order to assess and answer this question. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Sabah?
Thanks for this. This is really important. Sonia, you just said we need to do more comprehensive study. Todd, you said people have traveled to the other end of the world to get this done. I grew up in Montreal, ladies and gentlemen, over here. I grew up in Montreal, I educated in Montreal, and I was graduated out of Montreal high school system. So I believe all we need to do is just travel 500 kilometers from here, because the Quebec system has certainly got us act straight, ladies and gentlemen. We have not done that well over here. Basically looking at my two children that just graduated from Middlefield Collegiate, and I'm looking at their system and the system that I graduated from, and I'm saying, what's going on over here, ladies and gentlemen? The Ontario curriculum is not the same as our counterpart in Quebec. And what is happening over here? We are the biggest province in Ontario, but we never look at the province right beside us, which is Ontario, yet we have to travel all the way to Finland and other places to research. Let me tell you here, ladies and gentlemen, you want to do your research, let's go to Quebec, and I believe I can do that. I am the candidate. We need to provide our children with mathematical education. Yes, I believe in chemistry. Yes, I believe in physics. Yes, I believe in the philosophy. And I believe we need to have creative thinking. Creative thinking and financial education, which has not basically led to that. And that's why when I look at kids coming into buying homes right now, they are basically in debt because they have not been given that in the educational system. So yes, it is a sad case, but you know what? We can certainly learn from the Quebec province over here, and that's something that I want to bring to the table and say, hey, we can have our children, the future of our children could be brighter over here. So thank you very much, that's what I believe in.
So Ron, do you find teacher, inflating the grade?
Well, let me say this, from my personal experience, my counterpart, my friend, he almost answered everything that you were asking, okay? I graduated 91 in high school. Actually, 93, I went into the Waterloo. At that time, when I needed to get into a computer science program, I got an 86% and I went into the computer science program. But now, from every kids that I talk to in different community, if you do not get a mid or high 90s, it is almost impossible for you to go into the program that you were looking for. So 2 weeks ago, this article came out and surfaced that Waterloo University, and also actually, if we don't know, Western Ontario or some other university are also tracking the high school marks and compare to their university graduating mark and make a list of top 20, 30 schools that have marked inflation. However, I think the university can do a better job by acknowledging this information and notify the school system, the public school system, so that they can improve. That is one thing. But in our school system, the YLDSB, what we have to do better is to have a better marking or grading system to help our teachers and help our kids so that they can achieve what they are required to achieve in order to endeavor their further career or career choice starting from the university. Thank you very much.
Hey, Juanita, you are one of the seasoned trustee. How do you see this problem?
So you're right about the disparity between high school marks, and it does affect the child's future when they go into a very particular program in the university. And it's good that the universities have actually done this study and research, because the teachers have their own opinions. Like Todd said, they weigh in and there's a disparity the way they mark. And the ministry should really do a better job in coming up with some sort of a system where the marks are a range rather than a grade, which could benefit to maybe help with the teachers' opinions. Like Todd was saying, grades for engineering, math type of subjects may be very, very subjective. And for humanities are objective. And for that, the ministry has to do a better job, and we have to hold the ministry accountable for them to come up with some sort of a system to equalize this problem. And so I do agree, it's a problem.
Well, clap for Juanita, everybody. Okay, you know, I'm gonna get everybody to stand up and do a stretching, because you guys have been sitting there and you've been hearing speeches and your mind is going. So it's just like in a classroom, right? Your mind is going, oh, this is not a lot of information to take. Can I get everyone in the audience that's sitting up, please stand up, all right? I do this with my kids all the time, and especially in sports. Raise your hands up, come on. Hey, candidates too, you guys too, raise your hand up, stretch, stretch, stretch. All right, do you feel better? Thank you, thank you.
So
Okay.
you were using up your 30 seconds, right?
I was using your time, Alec. That was your time.
You only have 30 seconds now, okay?
All right, regarding what everybody says about the article, I don't know if you have a chance to see it, but if you haven't, you can go online to my social media, #KidsWinWithLynn. I posted the articles, and it showed the greatest disparity from high school in Grimsby, which is had a grade adjustment of over about 27%, 27 points. And then Pierre Elliott Trudeau and Markville High, all that, you know, at the lower end for a grade adjustment. So what is the issue? Why is this happening? If the curriculum for Ontario is exactly the same curriculum, but different high school is getting different grading, if somebody's getting an A in one high school, but it's different than another high school's A, so is it because of the teaching? Why is the teaching not standardized? Is it because the way that teachers are given freedom and how they want to teach the curriculum? This is something that we maybe need to look into. And this is something that definitely I think is an issue, because children that are graduating from high school going to university, they're being robbed. They don't have the advantage. They're thinking that, hey, I'm doing really great, I'm excelling in this high school, I'm getting all A pluses. But then when they get to their university and they meet students from other high school, they realize that it's not fair to them, because the marks that they're given is not the same as marks from other schools.
Jerica.
Thank you so much.
So, Francio, does the French school board have the same issue?
François, actually, what I could say is that, yes, this is true. Universities, they know that the grading is different. Let's not kid ourselves. They know that an 80% mark in school A may be not as good as a 70% mark in school B. This is a fact. However, universities, they know about that. And I've been a school board trustee 5 terms right now. I can tell you that for us, because we believe in a tough, open, and fair grading system, we have some kids sometimes that have the perception that by jumping the gun and going to the English system, they will have better chances to access university. But this is not the case. When universities are looking at applications, they know which schools, either French, English, Catholic, or public, are giving good grades, and when they're going easy grades. So that's the important, that the grades are a reflection of the work that is done by the students in their class, because at the end of the day, the universities know about it.
Thank you. Now, David.
So I might be the only one up here who actually has personal experience with this, because I was actually the first year when they introduced the standardization in 10th grade. So,
you are very young.
Young enough on that front. So I actually think that we definitely need standardization, especially when it comes to 12th grade. I'm totally open to it being an annual thing, so at least we're able to monitor and compare between schools, between teachers. Otherwise, how are we supposed to have a baseline to even have a conversation to say, oh, this teacher's a good teacher, or that teacher's a better teacher, this is a good school, that school's a better school, this district is doing well, if we have nothing in common to compare about. And so I know that the teachers are very against it, but the numbers are important. We have to be able to sit down and take a look and to see how students are doing over time in order to say that whether they are not doing well, whether they're doing better. Unfortunately, right now we have the universities actually stepping up the game. So, day one at U of T, for calculus, what they're doing right now is a check-in. Because, of course, they can't rely on these numbers at all. And so they have a first little quiz, if you will, just to even have any idea of what the students actually do and don't know, simply because you can't rely on the numbers that are being given. But it has been pointed out, there's an equal but separate issue of whether or not we should be doing standardization is what we should be doing in terms of interpreting those numbers. So yes, that has been commented before. I'm very against using one number in specific from any one specific year to just interpret that the student's performance is either up to level or not. You can have a student who did well in 9, 10, 11, and then in university, but the 12th grade was not so good because of family circumstances, and that you're looking at that one statistic alone is completely ignoring the actual person in front of you. So they have to take a greater context, looking at all of their grades and looking at all of the students' history over there.
Thank you. Ada, do you believe in the Chinese grade? Chinese pass is 80 or 90?
What I learned from the system, so far I found that, there's so many schools in Ontario. Just make Ontario as an example. And I came back in June 19, or the last 2 weeks of the school year, I received so many calls from parents and students say that their mark is not matching the way that they're supposed to be. So, and then I heard the news that from what they say about Waterloo, how they, pick the schools. Actually, I know this system long time ago when my daughter was in 1996, talk about if anyone picked this school, the university usually, light up another 7 marks on that school. So what it is the university had a system to track down the schools who provide those students